After school, a beautiful woman suddenly rushed into my arms holding a love letter. Her eyes were as soft and tender as water. And in a seductive, alluring voice, she said, "Makoto, this time, I will never make you wait 20 years for me again." I was still dumbfounded when I noticed there was also a man standing opposite us. His expression was one of shock and disappointment. In front of my eyes, a row of bullet comments flashed past. They read, "Heartless woman, gold digger, materialistic tramp." In the previous life, the male lead took care of her for his entire life. Even after a car accident left him paralyzed for over 10 years, he never abandoned her. And yet, after being reborn, she came straight to find the man she loved, the male supporting role. Shameless to the core. Another bullet comment replied, "A cheap woman like that is just waiting to be slapped in the face. The male lead will win over a rich, beautiful woman and reach the peak of life. You'll be tied to that vicious male supporting role forever." Before I could react, yet another bullet comment appeared. "I just want to fast forward to the scene at the class reunion 6 years later, where the heartless woman and the male supporting role get ruthlessly humiliated. And the male supporting role even gets his hand chopped off in public, for speaking disrespectfully to the male lead. Just imagining it feels so satisfying." After reading the bullet comments, all I could think was, what the hell? Chapter 1, 20 Years of Bitter Waiting. Vicious male supporting role. Are they talking about me? And also, this beautiful woman hugging me right now, who the hell are you? Chapter 2, the girl's cheeks flushed pink, her face like a peach blossom. As she lifted her gaze to me, she said, "Makoto, in this life, we will never miss each other again. I've thought it through. I will always love you. If you eat instant noodles, I'll eat instant noodles with you. If you live in a basement, I'll live in that basement with you. No matter what you're like, no matter how hard life gets, I'll stay by your side to support you," she said. "From now on, we'll be together forever and ever. Okay." Still completely baffled, I pushed her away first, trying to process the situation. What was she even talking about? Why was she cursing me? Why did I have to eat instant noodles and live in a basement? The bullet comments were already buzzing. I can't believe this, just at the very start. I'm already fuming. In the last life, she watched a random interview where the male supporting role exaggerated his so-called tough past. She bawled her eyes out and remembered it all this time. But the male lead, he worked hard to earn money and refused to spend it on himself, spent it all on her, pampering her with the best food and drinks. Yet she acted like it was all her due. Another comment read, "The more she hurts him now, the faster the male lead will wake up. Brother, take my advice, our blessings come later. Let the male supporting role enjoy that pile of crap." I glanced over. The man across from me looked haggard, his expression bleak. He clenched his fists, lowered his head, and with disappointment and resignation, turned to leave. Got it. A double rebirth. Self-torturing, wife-chasing, face-slapping feel-good revenge novel. Guess my 2 years of VIP subscription on that novel site weren't for nothing. The crowd around us was still jeering, chanting, "Be together, be together." I cleared my throat, stepped forward, perfectly sidestepped the love letter in her hand, and put a hand on her shoulder. "Listen, little sister," I said sincerely, "don't pull these pointless stunts. Maybe you like public confessions and think they're romantic, but to me, it's just awkward. Not to mention, we're total strangers. Why are you hugging me? If the roles were reversed, wouldn't you accuse me of sexual harassment?" I shrugged. "I get your feelings, but women will only slow down my problem-solving and studying speed." With a roguish wink, I brushed past her, my coat hem flicking in the wind, leaving her standing there dumbfounded. What remained for the crowd was just the glowing, untouchable silhouette of my back. Bullet comments rolled in. "Wait, is this how the plot goes? I remember the top student falling for her at first sight. What's going on here? Playing hard to get. Obviously, those two lovebirds will get together again later. But it doesn't matter, our male lead is already awakened, ready to start the Sigma Truman storyline. Bullshit. You're the one playing hard to get." I spat in disgust, left the school gate, and climbed into my Maybach to head home. Chapter 3. Later, I found out that the girl who confessed to me was named Willow, and the man who left in disappointment was named George. The two of them had been childhood sweethearts, and everyone in their class thought they had long been a couple. Then she pulled a stunt like this on me. Now the whole school was gossiping how childhood love couldn't compete with a love that fell from the sky. How the heartless woman was dreaming of marrying into a wealthy family. And me, I was the heartless homewrecker, the shameless third party everyone wanted to spit on. TCH. So it's my fault for being rich now. And even though I had rejected Willow so clearly that day, she still didn't give up. Every morning, rain or shine, she brought me a loving breakfast. Ridiculous. I didn't need it at all. I always had a nutritious breakfast made by the housekeeper before coming to school. After catching her red-handed one more time, I called her out into the hallway, my face cold as I handed the stuff back to her. I said. Classmate Willow, let me make this perfectly clear again. I don't know you. I have no intention of knowing you, and I want you to stop bothering me. It's completely meaningless. Also, we're in our senior year of high school. The most important thing right now is our grades and our future. I don't have the time to play these attention-seeking games with you every day. I hope you stop immediately. I enunciated every word, my tone formal and precise. Willow brushed her hair back, her movements lazy yet flirtatious. She gave a soft laugh and said, Makoto, stop pretending. I know you like me, and to tell you the truth, I'm reborn. I have the ability to foresee the future, she said. In this era, choices and environment are far more important than hard work. Studying hard is meaningless. In my last life, I studied like crazy, got into a prestigious university, but so what? In the workplace, gender discrimination is everywhere. Being a woman isn't just a gender, it's a disadvantage. To protect my rights, I still ended up quitting my job. Now that the heavens have given me another chance, I know exactly how the future will unfold. Even if you don't study, as long as you follow what I say, you can make a fortune and stand above everyone else. I was speechless. Where did she get the face to try and guide me? Bullet comments popped up. This shameless woman actually dares to talk. The job posting clearly stated frequent business trips and heavy physical work, recommended for men. Before joining, she complained about why it was recommended for men. After joining, she asked why she had to go on business trips and claimed physical work should only be for men. Later she quit, then forced George to give her all his savings to open a store. She let a friend talk her into opening a women-only gym, which went bankrupt in months. Then she went clubbing at night, got drunk, and got into a car accident that left her disabled. She had always played the single girl persona online, but the moment she was injured and feared George would leave her, she immediately posted a video to pressure him into marriage. And George? He worked during the day to pay off debts, and at night came home to care for her when she couldn't even take care of herself. Just thinking about it makes you feel bad for him. Another comment replied, exactly. George's entire life was ruined by this bitch. Once again, I was left in speechless outrage. George in his past life, what a top-tier simp. Rare enough to be displayed in a national museum. But, I lifted my eyelids and asked, have you read too many novels? Rebirth. Really? If you're actually reborn, then tell me, which stocks will rise in the next 10 years? Which industries will be mainstream? Willow's eyes lit up with hope, and she excitedly named several companies that hadn't even gone public yet. I memorized them, then looked at her regretfully. I said, even if you tell me, I still can't confirm you're actually reborn. Anyone can make up stuff. The most important thing is, I don't like you right now. I just want to study. I don't want to date. So stop bothering me from now on. Kidding me? We rich second gens have enormous academic pressure. Okay. Especially since I'm not an only child, the air fight in my family is pure blood and storm. I don't have time to waste on anyone. So, ignoring the girl's urgent attempts to stop me, I walked back into the classroom with a stride that recognized no kin, perfectly hitting the moment the bell rang, and sat down with a domineering air that radiated the authority of an emperor. Chapter 4. A few days later, I came into contact with George. We both entered the national competition selection. It's an extremely prestigious contest with only one slot, and everyone was determined to win it. I was no exception. This time, the choice was between me and George. To ensure fairness, the school had us compete in a one-on-one selection. Winner gets the slot. When I got a closer look at George, I realized he was the type who seemed honest and introverted at first glance, but his eyes were sharp with determination. In those bright eyes, there was no trace of worldly desire, only the absolute will to succeed. Looks like the love brain had been completely carved out of him. Good, but I wouldn't give in easily either. May the best man win. When the results came out, I happily ran to check them, only to find that my name wasn't there. Of course I was disappointed. I'd prepared for this for a long time. Then bullet comments flashed across my vision. Here we go again, another round of torturing the male lead. Can't this bitch stay away from him? I looked up and saw Willow walking straight toward George, speaking in a saccharine voice. George, give up this competition spot. Okay, Makoto has been preparing for it for a long time. You can still get into a great school even without this contest. Please don't fight him for it. Alright. The crowd collectively sucked in a breath. Bullet comments scrolled by. Unbelievable, the helpless frustration of not being able to reach through the screen to slap her. I was speechless. What's that supposed to mean? That without this contest, I couldn't get into a good university. Forget the comments, even I wanted to slap her. George's anger flared instantly. He gritted his teeth and shot back. Makoto's been preparing for a long time, but so have I. The school set the rules. How can I just give it up? Willow's eyes were full of reproach. She said unhappily, George, why are you being so petty? Losing this slot won't hurt you. In our last life, you still got into your dream university, didn't you? I'm begging you. Okay. The tone was so aggravating it gave me chills. George's voice was firm. I earned this spot on my own. Why should I give it up? The next second. Exactly. Why should he give it up? I clapped my hands and strolled over to stand beside George, facing Willow. Clicking my tongue twice in disdain, I said, "Hey, classmate, could you stop ruining my reputation? Makoto, lost fair and square. If you say stuff like that, people will think I'm incapable and need a woman to trade favors for me. If you're really that bored, how about you do a few more sets of practice tests for the 5-year Gaokao, 3-year mock exams? If that's too much, you can grab a bucket and wipe the dust off the notice board. Looks like it needs it. You'd be perfect for the job." The surrounding students burst into laughter. George stared at me in surprise. "Heh, now that's what I call a proper moment to flex." I gave him a calm smile. Willow's face turned ugly. "Makoto, I didn't mean anything else. I just wanted to help you. I know you." "Stop. Just stop." I raised my hand, palm out, cutting her off sharply. "Don't disgust me. Thanks. I don't need your help. If you really want what's best for me, then don't meddle in my business, and stay far away from me. Distance from idiots is what makes me happy. Got it?" Bullet comments scrolled in. Wait, what's going on with Makoto? Why's he helping the male lead scold the female lead? Isn't he supposed to pressure George to give up the slot and then mock him after winning? Yeah, I remember that was the plot too. Wasn't Makoto into Willow? Why's he cursing her out? Did someone rewrite the script? But hey, you can't deny Makoto's roasting is satisfying. If only I had that kind of mouth. I suspected these commenters were reading a pirated version. Since when did I ever like Willow? No need to smear me this badly. Willow's face went from red to white as she bit her lip. Unable to speak, I turned to George and lightly patted his shoulder. "Don't listen to her nonsense. You're really good. Congratulations, you beat me. I'm sure you'll do great in the competition." George was surprised I would say something like that, but a moment later, he smiled in relief and gave a small nod. The bell rang, and the crowd slowly dispersed. We didn't linger either, each heading back to our own classrooms. Willow stood frozen in place, her lips pressed tight, watching me walk away. Chapter 5. George really made everyone proud. He placed impressively in the national competition. The whole school, teachers and students alike, were happy for him. Everyone except Willow, who looked utterly unimpressed. After school, I was about half an hour later than usual because I had stayed to finish a tough problem. That's when I saw her cornering George by the hallway wall. With an air of superiority, Willow said, "George, we've already been through this mistake. Don't make the same one twice. You're showing off just to make your presence known to me, but it's pointless. If we could start over, we both should have our own choices." I was speechless. How should I put it? Right now, I was basically the human embodiment of the confused black guy meme. George replied with a blank face. "This is my choice. I'm not chasing after you. Whoever you like in this lifetime. That's none of my business. I just want to live my own life." Now that's what a normal person would say, but Willow clearly had her own interpretation. She gave a cold snort. "If you're living your own life, why do you have to keep walking in front of me? Top of the class, first place in competitions, teachers praising you in class every day, and then assigning you to sit next to me to tutor me one-on-one. Don't tell me you didn't ask for that yourself. You're always like this. Using these ways I can't stand to tie me down." George let out a laugh of disbelief. "Have you considered the possibility that the teacher simply couldn't stand seeing your grades drop so badly, and so asked the top student in the whole school to pull you up?" Impossible. Willow was certain. "Stop lying. To get close to me, you'd do anything." Bullet comments in my head flew by at high speed, filled with censored curse words. Damn it, I couldn't take this anymore. I swung my arms, my jacket hem flaring out, like a god descending from the heavens, halo included, ready to save this poor guy entangled with a manipulative coquette. "George, your homeroom teacher wants you in the office," I called out. "Are you on cleanup duty today? Do you need me to help you take out the trash?" My eyes flicked toward Willow. From the moment I walked over, Willow had already stepped back a good distance, looking uneasy, afraid I might get the wrong idea. George looked at me with relief. "I'll go right now," he said. "As for the rest, no need until it's completely turned into waste. Trash never stays quietly in the bin. If you clean it up now, you'll only get your hands dirty." He gave me a faint smile before leaving the hallway, effortlessly cool. I brushed the dust from my clothes and was about to leave when Willow hurried over to block me. "Makoto, don't misunderstand," she said in a trembling voice. "There's really nothing between me and George. I was just telling him to stop bothering me. He's like me since we were kids. Making him give up will take time. Makoto, please don't doubt me. I've never been interested in him. The one I've always liked is you." I almost gagged. This woman, the more you argue with her, the more she twists things. So I just gave her a fake, insincere smile, nodded in the most perfunctory way possible, then turned and walked off, still exuding coolness in profile. And so I headed north, away from the hallway where she stood. Chapter 6. The final year of high school passed quickly. I still studied day and night, with the top spot in the school constantly switching back and forth between me and George. Willow, on the other hand, racked her brains, relentlessly pursuing me, sometimes coaxing, sometimes pressuring, but by then, I had already trained myself into a monk-like state of immunity to feminine charms. No matter how she tried to tempt or cling to me, I could look right through her, my resolve as steady as a Buddha's, which is why, by the time the college entrance exams ended, I hadn't exchanged more than 20 words with her. When the exam results came out, I was quite satisfied. George took first place, I was second. Both of us could attend top universities in the country. Before leaving for another city, Willow tried every trick she could think of to get to me, but once outside of school, our statuses were worlds apart. Young Master Ito of a wealthy family was not someone you could just meet on a whim. Without any distractions, I smoothly entered university. In the blink of an eye, 6 years passed. During those 6 years, I occasionally got updates about George and Willow through the bullet comments flying across my internal stream of gossip. For example, George had chosen biomedical science as his major, stayed first in his department year after year, and was already regarded as a national-level talent at a young age. He also sealed his engagement with the daughter of the prestigious Sioux family with a single romantic kiss. As for Willow, although she only got into a junior college, she relied on her memories from her previous life to seize the benefits of the times and had managed to build up some personal wealth. Oh, and she found herself a stand-in for me. The two of them stuck together like glue every day, publicly affectionate to the point of making me lose my appetite for a few grains of rice. Recently, I received an invitation to our high school reunion. The bullet comments exploded. One read, "Here it comes. The high-energy face-slapping scene is finally here. Willow still thinks George is going to the reunion to get back together with her. I've got my popcorn ready. Time to watch that manipulative guy and pretentious coquette dig their own graves." Another replied, "Except George is about to get humiliated again. In front of so many classmates. That's going to be brutal." And another chimed in, "The worse the humiliation, the sweeter the reversal. I've been following this for so long just for this climax." Classic scene incoming, the rich heiress boldly protecting her men. Call me a shameless gossip dog, but I love it. Willow and Makoto are about to be ruined. Ha ha ha. Then someone else countered, "Don't get your hopes up too much, things have been rewritten. Makoto Ito never got together with Willow, and he's already inherited the Ito family business." A bullet comment asked, Then is he still going to the reunion?" "Of course. Absolutely. At a feel-good scene. I just can't get into it without myself in it." Chapter 7. I immediately told my assistant to book me a flight back to City B. On the day of the reunion, I put on a custom-tailored suit, strapped on a $1 million watch, and stepped into a stretch luxury car. Standing anywhere like that, I was the very definition of a domineering CEO. On the way to the reunion, the bullet comments started broadcasting the situation at the scene. One read, "Where does Willow get the audacity? Our George was actually heading to the next hall for a medical conference and only walked into the reunion by mistake, but she somehow thought he came crawling back to reconcile with her. What a piece of work." Someone else said, "See, she's mad again. The male lead just passed by without acknowledging her, and now she's losing her cool." Another comment read, "This stand-in is even dumber than Makoto. Whatever Willow says, he believes instantly, and now he wants to stand up for her. Does he even use his brain? With Willow's personality, if George had ever actually harassed her, would she have let him off? He's nothing more than a simp hanging around her, but he really thinks he's something special. A guy living off a woman has no right to call George useless." And the others, all opportunistic snobs, joining in to humiliate George. Another bullet comment popped up. "Funniest part, he accused George of wearing a fake watch just to show off. Joke's on him. That watch came straight from Christie's auction." The next one followed. "He's done for. That idiot yanked the watch off and stomped on it. He's going to lose everything paying for it." I glanced at the time. Mistake on my part. Why did they all arrive early? I still had 10 minutes to go. "George, hang in there, don't let them push you to the breaking point." Bullet comments kept rolling. The male lead's 2 punches were solid. That's how it should be, equality for all. The stand-in's jaw almost got dislocated. Damn, can that disgusting pair just exit the stage early and eat their boxed lunch? And those people, holding George down by the shoulders so the stand-in could slap him. Disgusting. And after slapping him, they want George to apologize. Apologize my ass. I'm freaking out. Where's Anna? Your husband's about to crack under the pressure. I bang strode with a vigorous, wind-swept pace straight to the banquet hall. Just before I entered the banquet hall, I heard a loud, mocking voice. "So your wife is Anna? George, at least make your lies believable. Anna Sue is the Sioux family's heiress. How could she possibly be interested in trash like you? If she's really your wife, then I'm your dad. Don't move." Stay put, Willow. Today I'm going to get you the justice you deserve. Willow gave a cold snort. George, we did have something in the past. As long as you apologize to me, kneel down and say you won't dare do it again, I'll let this go. I've already given you a way out, don't be ungrateful. The next second, the main doors slammed open. I'd like to see who dares lay another finger on my brother. I turned to the doorway. I stood there, halo above my head, sound system beneath my feet, blinding everyone in the room except George as I made my dazzling entrance. Chapter 8. Bullet comments flew in. Oh damn, why is it Makoto who came? Wait, is this BGM supposed to be this hype? It's over, he actually pulled it off. This entrance is ridiculously flashy. Did they swap the lead actor for this scene? Head held high, I strode forward under everyone's gaze, walking steadily right up to them. George was surrounded in the middle, collapsed on the floor, one side of his face bright red. Clearly, he'd just been slapped. Around us, people whispered, probably wondering why I was here. I first pulled George up and shielded him behind me, then gave the crowd a cold glance. With a smile, I said, for those who know, this might look like a class reunion. For those who don't, it's like watching a pack of strays fighting over scraps. A bunch of people barking like rabid dogs. Don't you all have anything better to do? After 2 years running the Ito group, my name carried quite a bit of weight in the outside world. This bunch of former classmates, people I'd barely interacted with back then, didn't dare cross me. They all shrank back, silent. I turned my gaze to Willow. The man standing in front of her, the so-called stand-in, looked distinctly sour upon seeing me. I scanned him from head to toe. Aside from his bright green-dyed hair, I couldn't find any resemblance to me at all. This is my stand-in. I felt personally insulted. The moment Willow saw me, she froze in place. Then, putting on a faux shy act, she stepped closer, her eyes tilting in what she thought was a seductive look, and asked softly, Makoto, did you come here for me? Her gaze flicked to my cufflinks, and a spark of excitement lit up her eyes. With a trembling voice, she said, I knew it, Makoto. You've never forgotten me. Even your cufflinks are engraved with the initials of my name. I was speechless. I looked down at the cufflinks with a mix of disbelief and irritation. They were part of my collection, with a design engraved with the letters WL. I said, how about this, you go to our hospital and ask if they can do a detox surgery. If they can, tell them the abscess between your 2 shoulders is too big and needs to be drained. She frowned. What do you mean? I replied. I mean you're brainless. You even got the order wrong. Unbelievable. Listen up. Yes, these are initials, but they're not yours. They're the name of my dog I've had for 10 years, Lucky Wolf. Willow was stunned. Bullet comments popped up. What? It's the initials of a dog's name. So when Makoto said in his previous life during that entrepreneur interview that it was the initials of a name he remembered, and that he regretted they couldn't be together, he was talking about his dog, meaning Makoto never had feelings for Willow, the gold digger, at all. Damn, that's a colossal misunderstanding. Willow convinced herself Makoto liked her because of that one line, pure delusion. Come to think of it, in the previous life Makoto probably meant the dog had already passed away, so he regretted not being able to stay together. No wonder Makoto escaped the original storyline. He never liked Willow to begin with. But it's fine. The manipulative coquette is still digging her own grave. The essence of a feel-good revenge story hasn't changed. Chapter 9. You call me shameless. Willow, the truly shameless one here is you. George stepped out from behind me, his voice laced with icy sarcasm. He spoke slowly, enunciating every word. You people have verbally attacked me, damaged my property, and even laid hands on me. This banquet hall has surveillance cameras. I will hold you legally accountable, so be prepared to compensate. Ha ha ha. Compensation? Don't make me laugh. The so-called stand-in, my supposed look-alike, suddenly regained his swagger when George spoke. He immediately moved to block Willow behind him and said, Look at you, acting all tough. That busted fake watch of yours, do you even know how much it would be worth if it were real? Can't answer. Right. Let me tell you, if it were real, it would cost tens of millions. Could someone like you ever afford that? And you want compensation? How about I give you $20 and call it a day? I bent down, picked up the damaged watch, and examined it. It really was a rare limited edition. Sigh, wild boars can't tell fine grain. I handed the watch back to George for safekeeping, but before I could say anything, the man picked up a suit jacket from the floor. And this jacket too, he sneered. I get that men like to brag, but if you're going to wear fakes, at least make it less obvious. Who doesn't recognize this brand? But I've never even seen this model, might as well stamp fake right across it. Your skin must be thicker than a wall, I'm embarrassed for you. He then tossed the jacket back to the ground and stomped on it twice. The cut and style of the jacket were indeed unfamiliar to me, but I knew one thing existed, private tailoring. I cleared my throat and pointed to the jacket. Excuse me, there's nothing wrong with this suit. Its value is about. I held up 6 fingers. 60,000. Someone guessed. I shook my head. Add 2 more zeros. A chorus of sharp intakes of breath followed. Murmurs spread through the crowd. No way. 6 million. Could Makoto be mistaken? Even if he's a rich second generation, he's not necessarily an expert. He could be wrong. The man refused to believe it, his neck stiff with defiance. Him? Wearing a 6 million suit? Who's he trying to fool? If it's real, I'll get on my knees, kowtow 3 times, and call him dad. This level of intelligence, truly a gift to wish fulfillment novels. Aside from the manipulative coquette, you always need a brainless male side character to push the plot forward, whether or not they actually have a grudge with the male lead. I frowned. Hold on, I've been meaning to ask. Sorry, but who exactly are you? Isn't this our class reunion? I don't recall you being in our class. The man threw an arm around Willow's shoulders and grinned. Me, I'm Willow's boyfriend. But Willow immediately pushed him away in distaste, as if trying to avoid suspicion in front of me. His smile froze, the cracks in his composure showing. I turned to George. Give them the figures for what they've damaged. Let them have a number in mind. Otherwise, I'm afraid they'll faint from the shock later. George nodded calmly and spoke unhurriedly. The watch you smashed was bought at a Christie's auction for 30 million. The suit you stomped on is a handcrafted private custom piece worth 6.5 million. As for the physical assault, I will sue, and you will need to apologize. I took a step forward, radiating dominance like a king wearing his crown. I said, "You apologize." I pointed downward at the men. After a second's pause, I turned my finger toward the woman. "You apologize and pay up. I doubt this useless man can afford it, but maybe if you scrape together everything you've got, you might manage. As for the rest of you," I swept my gaze around the room like an emperor surveying his court. "If you've spoken out of turn, line up and apologize. If you've kept quiet, stay that way, and remember this truth." I looked at them as if they were trash. When you do wrong, you pay the price. The bullet comments went wild. Holy crap, first time I've seen a male side character act this badass. Boss, forget pointing at them, point at me. I'll gladly be your loyal henchman for life. That's more like it. Chapter 10. Under my intimidation. A few classmates I vaguely recognized hesitated for a moment before deciding to step forward and apologize to George. They admitted they had said inappropriate things earlier and asked for his forgiveness. I let my gaze sweep over each of their faces, finally landing on Willow. "And you?" I asked. Willow stayed silent for a while, then suddenly burst out laughing. With a cold snort, she said, "Makoto, don't let George fool you. I've been with him long enough to know exactly what he's worth. Him getting rich, that'd be a miracle." Someone whispered, "Exactly. He even bragged earlier that his wife is the Sue family's heiress." "Yeah, right." Willow narrowed her eyes at George. "You, a wife? George, everyone knows you've been madly in love with me for years. You even chased me to this reunion. Who else would you ever like besides me?" She rolled her eyes. "Stop lying. This wife you talk about is just a ploy to make me jealous, hoping I'll take you back." Damn it, my fists itched. I turned to George, genuinely baffled. "Were you blind before? How could you have liked someone like this?" Truly, the script had set him up. George gave a self-mocking smile. "You're right. I'd love to go back in time and slap myself twice for getting involved with such a shameless idiot. I really must have been blind." "Willow, how many times do I have to say it before you understand? I don't have the slightest feeling for you. Stop acting like a broken record, telling everyone I'm chasing you. I'll say it one more time. I'm married and have my own family." He smirked. "If anything, you're the one who runs up to me every time you see me, like some sticky parasite that I can't shake off. Could it be you're the one who still has feelings for me, stirring up trouble just to get my attention?" Willow's face flushed bright red. Biting her lip, she said, "Me, still have feelings for you? You must be delusional. The only one in my heart is Makoto, and anyone else was just a passing fling." The stand-in froze on the spot, staring at her in disbelief. As for me, I was thoroughly disgusted. Still barking, she continued, "And you think saying you're married makes it true? Ask anyone here, who believes you. If you're really married, then tell us, who's your wife?" "I've said it before," George replied impatiently. "My wife is Anna." As if she had just heard the world's funniest joke, Willow laughed so hard she could barely breathe. Her exaggerated laughter filled the entire hall. "You still won't admit defeat, huh, George?" She rolled her eyes again. "If your wife is Anna, then call her here. If she really shows up, we'll kneel down and kowtow to you in apology, and we'll pay you double for everything we damaged. But if you can't," she spun in place once, tilting her head with a look of mockery, "then you'll crawl from here to the door and bark like a dog a few times. If I'm pleased, I won't hold it against you for lying to everyone. After all, I made the same request of you in our last life." Bullet comments streamed past. "This vile woman has some nerve. Last time she ran a gym into the ground, lost all of George's savings, and even wanted him to mortgage his house. When he refused, she got down on her knees with tears in her eyes. trying to guilt-trip him. It's not like George asked her to kneel. A manipulative coquette who blames everyone else and never reflects on herself. George ignored her. Willow gave a cold snort and turned to me. Makoto, you see, he's just a fraud. Remember what I told you. I know future events. If I become your supportive wife, the Ito group will rise to the top. Not like George, who will spend his life as a worthless liar. I'd had enough. My tolerance for idiots had hit its limit. I was just about to slap her when a contemptuous female voice came from outside the door. Who says my husband is worthless? Chapter 11. The banquet hall doors swung open, and a beam of golden light spilled in. 2 rows of black-suited bodyguards filed in, lining up neatly on either side of the doorway. Walking in, bathed in the golden glow, was a woman in a custom haute couture evening gown. She moved as if time itself had slowed by half, with BGM swirling in perfect 360-degree surround sound. At this moment, the archetypal wish-fulfillment novel female lead entrance had taken form in reality. Bullet comments flew past. It's Anna. Anna's here, the Sue family heiress. Anna Sue. God, I love this kind of dog blood face-slapping scene. Here comes the climax. Time for the trashy ones to get what they deserve. I was annoyed. Damn it. She was showing off. Why was her entrance flashier than mine? Move aside and let me have 2 more episodes to myself. After a moment of awkward silence, whispers began to spread. It really is Anna. I've seen her in the news. She's actually George's wife. I'm screwed. I just called him a loser daydreaming about marrying her. I already apologized. What if George still holds a grudge? Willow had gone utterly silent, staring wide-eyed, her words caught in her throat, her feet rooted to the floor. Anna walked through the crowd and into George's arms, leaning on him like a delicate bird. Honey, weren't you supposed to be at the academic conference? What are you doing in this doghouse? Damn it, insult them all you want, but don't lump me in with them. Arms crossed, I said irritably. You sure took your time. Any later, and I'd have solved everything already. Anna blinked. Then George patted her shoulder and said, Makoto, a friend of mine. Willow, dazed, muttered, George, you're really married? How? How could this be? Haven't you always loved me? Anna's gaze rose to George's injured face, her expression instantly hardening. She swept her eyes across the room and demanded through gritted teeth, Who hit my husband? The crowd collectively took a giant step back, leaving Willow and the stand-in stranded in the center, their faces as pale as if they'd seen a ghost. Well, that made things obvious. No need for further proof. The Sue family's motto, debts will be repaid, was well known to the outside world. The stand-in was shaking so hard he could barely stand. Forcing an awkward laugh, he stammered, No, I didn't mean to. It was him who threw the first punch, and we just... Anna ignored him entirely and called out, Guards. Several massive bodyguards advanced like a dark tide, their presence suffocating. The stand-in's knees gave out, and he collapsed to the floor. He tugged desperately at Willow's sleeve, but she just stood there, staring blankly at George without moving. With no help from her, he turned to George, pleading, George, I was wrong, I really was. I didn't mean it. I'll kowtow. I'll apologize. Whatever you want. Please, don't lower yourself to my level. His head hit the floor with loud, desperate thuds, tears streaming down his face, but Anna waved a dismissive hand. Take him out and deal with him. Whichever hand hit my husband, break it. The men went wild, struggling like a madman, but no matter how strong he was, there was no way he could resist the trained guards. In less than 2 minutes, he was dragged out, his agonized screams fading into the distance. So this was the infamous male side character gets his hand crippled scene. Thinking about how the bullet comment said it was originally supposed to be me, I suddenly felt my own hand start to ache. Chapter 12. 1 down, 1 to go. Enjoying the show, I tilted my chin toward Willow. So, wasn't there someone who said that if Anna showed up, they'd kneel down and apologize, and pay double for the damages? Willow's face instantly turned white. Only now did Anna notice the trampled suit and the smashed watch on the floor. Her gaze lingered for a moment, cold enough to pierce through bone. After a brief pause, Willow put on an innocent expression, tilting her head and clapping lightly. She said, Anna, this is all a misunderstanding. It was that jerk earlier, he's the one who acted lawlessly and broke these things. Anna, how about this? Do you like this handbag? She handed over her bag. I also run a luxury store. I'm sure you've heard of our brand. If you like, you can drop by anytime, and whatever catches your eye, you can pick anything you want. But the very next second, Anna took the bag from her hands and, without hesitation, tossed it to the floor, grinding it under her heel with open disdain. Rolling her eyes, she said, Never heard of such a third-rate brand. Stop talking nonsense. You have 2 choices. 1, as you just said, pay double compensation. 2, I send you to prison. Your choice. Willow stared at the bag under Anna's heel, her eyelids twitching with rage, as if Anna were stomping on her dignity itself. Biting her lip hard, she trembled as she said, Anna, don't go too far. Fine, today's my bad luck, I admit it. It's just money, I'll pay. Don't get too full of yourselves, I can succeed on my own, and when that day comes, you'll all be begging me. Oh, for crying out loud, still can't read the room, spouting such shameless nonsense. This brain is pure pork, I replied at an unhurried pace. The trajectory of the world is never fixed. Ever heard of the butterfly effect? Maybe you know which company is worth investing in, or which stock will soar, but what if I intervene? A promising company gets acquired by me, changes its name before going public. That stock you thought would skyrocket suddenly tanks because the Ito Group, your competitor, has released a superior product. Could you foresee that? Pathetic. Even if she had lived twice, she might make a little quick money with her so-called foreknowledge, but without the ability to read the market, she'd just be another wave crashing and dying on the shore. Willow was struck speechless. Clearly, she couldn't come up with a retort, left stewing in her own frustration like a freshly boiled spicy lobster. Anna tucked her hair neatly behind her ear and spoke slowly. Willow, right, enough talk. If you don't pay up within 30 minutes, the only door you'll be seeing is the one to the police station. My patience is short, so I suggest you hurry. Otherwise, when I change my mind, the price you pay won't just be money. Chapter 13. Willow's face flushed red as she dialed a number, instructing her assistant to fetch the money, her tone still arrogant as she told Anna to wait. But moments later, she received another call. Her expression shifted to shock. What do you mean there's not enough money? How could there not be enough? Aren't there still tens of millions in the account? All spent. Bullet comments exploded. I'm dying. She's seriously this brain dead. Did she think money grows by itself? Last month, she and her stand-in boyfriend bought a yacht, a mansion, and splurged on luxury goods. No wonder it's almost gone. Exactly. Women like this have no concept of money. They never think about whether something is worth it. They just buy on impulse, thinking the money will never run out. Around them, old classmates whispered among themselves, what's going on? Doesn't Willow post every day about traveling and showing off her wealth? Maybe she's been lying to us this whole time, just a gold digger. But she's dressed pretty expensively right now. You don't know. A lot of so-called socialites these days rent clothes and take turns wearing them. Even co-rent a luxury car. The gossip was loud enough for Willow to hear clearly. Her chest heaved with rising anger. For someone like her, vanity was everything. No matter how extreme the method, she would try to salvage her image in front of others. She glanced at George, but George was sitting calmly on a stool while Anna knelt beside him, gently wiping the injury on his face with a handkerchief. The picture of devoted affection, without a single glance spared for Willow. As for me, in her mind, I was the flawless, perfect man. Naturally, she wouldn't stoop to ask me for money in this setting either. She stomped her foot, shoved through the onlookers, and went to the corner to make another call. It went on for quite a while. By the end, her temper had hit its peak. She screamed into the phone, ordering the other person to do as she said. Before hanging up in fury, George spoke calmly. It's been a long day. Let's go home. Anna nodded, sweeping the room with a look that dripped with contempt. In that moment, silence spoke louder than words. Every classmate lowered their head like a quail, not daring to make a sound. Hooking her arm through George's, Anna instructed her men. The others can leave or stay. I don't care. But her, she pointed at Willow standing by the wall. She doesn't leave until the money arrives. If it's not here in 20 minutes, take her to the old estate's basement. The bodyguards responded in unison, their formation looking exactly like a mafia meeting. I stretched my legs a bit. Standing around had made them stiff, but the most important matter hadn't even begun yet. As Anna and George headed toward the door, I strode after them, raising a hand to firmly block their way. Don't be in such a hurry to leave, I said. Ito Group, Makoto Ito, the lounge next door, let's talk. Chapter 14. Yes, I had two purposes for coming here. First, to rescue the unlucky male lead and humiliate the manipulative coquette. Second, to build a bridge to the Su family. The Ito Group, despite its rapid rise and respectable reputation in the industry, was still a step behind the Su family in terms of influence. In the lounge, a waiter brought in a pot of fine tea. Pouring a cup for each of us, Anna asked. You're talking about cooperation. I set down my cup and immediately pulled out a project proposal I had prepared long ago. Leaning forward with a smile, I said, yes, our group is currently developing a breakthrough drug for Alzheimer's disease, and Mr. Wang's expertise is formidable. If we work together, our efforts would be twice as effective for half the effort. If this drug is successfully developed, it will be a milestone in the medical field. All the detailed plans are in this proposal. You can take a look. Thanks to the bullet comments, I already knew about George's future achievements in medicine. coincidentally, his aspirations matched one of my own long-standing goals. My grandfather had passed away from Alzheimer's disease. If I had the power, I never wanted anyone else to experience the pain of watching a loved one forget them. I had come fully prepared and with genuine sincerity. George read carefully, page by page, from start to finish. I didn't rush him, waiting patiently. I had complete confidence in myself, in the Ito group, and in this project. After a long moment, George closed the proposal and smiled at me. Mr. Ito, I agree to this cooperation. I kept my composure, smiling calmly, even though inside I was overjoyed, steadfast on the outside. Like a seasoned veteran, Anna said. Since my husband has agreed, the Su family will have no objections. George smiled. Congratulations, you've found yourself a reliable partner. Immediately, I pulled out another prepared letter of intent from my bag and handed him a pen. Then, let's have a pleasant cooperation, I said. Before coming to the reunion, I had prepared every last detail for this project. Yes, I am just that thorough, always 3 steps ahead, with no gaps in my plan. Cannon fodder male side character, not me. I am the protagonist of my own story. Chapter 15. Once the agreement was signed, we parted ways. Later, I heard that at the very last moment before being taken to the Su family's old estate basement, Willow managed to scrape together the money. Only then was she released without losing any limbs. But within just a few months, her company couldn't even pay its employees' salaries. While all the staff were demanding their wages, Willow still wore that lofty, condescending face, saying things like, "You should be grateful, I've been supporting you all this time. What's wrong with being paid a few months late?" One employee finally had enough and filed a real name report accusing her of embezzling public funds. I wasn't surprised in the slightest. After all, the bullet comments had spoiled this for me long ago. This time, Willow panicked. Embezzlement wasn't something she could talk her way out of. This was prison time. She scrambled to borrow money from anyone she could, but no one was willing to lend. In her desperation, she went to George. Unsurprisingly, she didn't even get to see his face. In her second wave of desperation, she came to find me. Unfortunately for her, I was busy working with George on our new drug research, so again, she didn't see me. In the pouring rain, she ended up drenched, looking like a drowned rat. According to the bullet comments, she then decided to flee. But if she could really escape, this wouldn't be a wish fulfillment novel. With bad weather and her car speeding, Willow's vehicle crashed head-on into an oncoming oil tanker. The entire front of her car was smashed to pieces. Everything overlapped perfectly with the fatal accident from her previous life. In this life, she still didn't escape the fate of being paralyzed from the waist down and confined to a wheelchair. Only this time, it came 15 years earlier, and in this lifetime, there was no responsible, dutiful husband willing to care for her without complaint. What awaited her instead were the spittle and condemnation of others, and a long, endless night behind prison walls. Chapter 16. For a long time afterward, I never saw another bullet comment. It wasn't until 4 years later that those words began to scroll across my vision again. The manipulative coquette finally couldn't handle the torment in prison, went insane and killed herself. Hilarious. What was she thinking? Saying that if she could be reborn once, she could be reborn twice. Did she think it was like buying cabbage? Others chimed in. Exactly. Facing death, she suddenly remembers how good George was to her and decides she wants to make it up to him in the next life. No way. Go to hell alone. And another. No. She didn't come to her senses. She just regretted dumping a simp who catered to her every whim. No matter how many times she's reborn, selfish people stay selfish. I paused for only a moment before pretending I hadn't seen anything, continuing to listen to my subordinates' reports. Over the years, our medical research collaboration with the Su family had made major breakthroughs. Beyond that, we had also partnered on several other projects. Under my leadership, the Ito group had grown larger and stronger by the day. My parents couldn't stop smiling, grateful they had passed the company to me, and I had gradually become one of the most powerful tycoons, living a life even more exhilarating than a wish fulfillment novel. Take now, for example, standing before me were 18 stunning models, each with a figure to kill for. Beside me sat a delicate, porcelain-skinned beauty, so fresh she could be mistaken for water itself. She picked up a peeled grape, holding it to my lips. "Baby, open up," she cooed. The next second, I pulled her into my arms with a smile, brushing my fingers against her lips. "Hey, don't call me baby." Her eyes dropped shyly. "Then, what should I call you?" she asked. With a slight smile, I crossed my legs, waved my hand grandly, and said, "Call me the righteous villain."